Hello and welcome. My name is MPLS, they, she, he, and this is Literally Graphic. And today is my fourth monthly TBR video. This past month marked the second month that I struggled to keep up, and I definitely fell behind. But I do appreciate how having monthly TBRs gives me a chance to leave the last month behind and really feel like the new month is a blank slate. But such is life. Another opportunity to work on my unattainable need for perfection. Starting with the manga, as usual, I felt like returning to Jiro Taniguchi, so I'm picking up Walking Man, translated in 2006. As a stroller myself, I've had my eye on this book for a while. Quote, "Whoever takes the time these days to climb a tree in bare feet, to stop and observe the comings and goings of the birds, to play in the puddles after the rain has gone, to return a shell to the sea." The Walking Man follows a modern-day Japanese businessman as he strolls at random through urban Japan, often silent, usually alone, with his vivid dreams that let time stand still. Every corporate American should have a copy on their desk, and in times of stress, take 2 chapters twice a day. Take a little stress out of your life and relax with The Walking Man. A little step every day. End quote. And my second manga pick for March will be Town of Evening Calm, Country of Cherry Blossoms by Fumiyo Kouno. Slice of life, historical fiction, seinen. Quote, "Kouno examines the impact that World War II and the dropping of the atomic bomb had on the people of Japan through the eyes of an average woman living in 1955. End quote. I forget where I heard about this book, but I added it to my TBR just under 1 year ago. The mainstream book I'll be reading and hopefully reviewing in March is Sandman Volume 5. I did read Volume 4 last month, but didn't have the time to review. So I'm just going to roll them together this month. There will be no shortage of opinions and things to say. So look forward to that, I guess. Quote, "Take an apartment house, mix in a drag queen, a lesbian couple, some talking animals, a talking severed head, a confused heroine, and the deadly cuckoo. Stir vigorously with a hurricane and Morpheus himself, and you get this 5th installment in the Sandman series. The story stars Barbie, who first makes an appearance in The Dollhouse, who here finds herself a princess in a vivid dream world, collecting the Sandman number 32 through 37. End quote. Not in the mood for anything else that feels mainstream for the other Not Manga Monday, so that day will hopefully be taken up reviewing Paying the Land by Sacco, one of those books I was going to try and read last month and failed. Quote, "The Dene have lived in the vast Mackenzie River Valley since time immemorial. By their account, to the Dene the land owns them, and it is central to their livelihood and very way of being. But the subarctic Canadian Northern Territories are home to valuable resources, including oil, gas, and diamonds. With mining came jobs and investment, but also road building, pipelines, and toxic waste, which scarred the landscape, and alcohol, drugs, and debt, which deformed a way of life." End quote. My queer picks for March start off with a rereading of the graphic nonfiction book Queer, A Graphic History by Meg-John and Julie Scheele. Quote, "From identity politics and gender roles to privilege and exclusion, Queer explores how we came to view sex, gender, and sexuality in the way that we do. How these ideas get tangled up with our culture and our understanding of biology, psychology, and sexology, and how these views have been disputed and challenged. Along the way, we look at key landmarks which shift our perspective of what's normal. Alfred Kinsey's view of sexuality as a spectrum, Judith Butler's view of gender behavior as performance, play Wicked, or moments in Casino Royale when we're invited to view James Bond with the kind of desiring gaze usually directed at female bodies in mainstream media. Presented in a brilliantly engaging and witty style, this is a unique portrait of the universe of queer thinking." End quote. My second queer pick is a totally new one, and one I've heard many good things about, namely The Magic Fish by Tung Nguyen. Quote, "Real life isn't a fairy tale, but Tien still enjoys reading his favorite stories with his parents from the books he borrowed from the local library. It's hard enough trying to communicate with your parents as a kid, but for Tien, He doesn't even have the right words because his parents are struggling with their English. Is there a Vietnamese word for what he's going through? Is there a way to tell them he's gay? A beautifully illustrated story by Tung Nguyen that follows a young man as he tries to navigate life through fairy tales. An instant classic that shows us how we are all connected. The Magic Fish tackles tough subjects in a way that is accessible with readers of all ages and teaches us that no matter what, we can all have our own happy endings. End quote. And my pick for my Black comic TBR is MPLS Sound by Hannibal Tabu, Joseph Phillip Illidge, and Meredith Laxton. Quote, when Prince burst into the pop scene in 1978, he put Minneapolis on the music map. Many up-and-coming bands followed the trail that he blazed. MPLS Sound is the story of one such group, Starchild, led by a young woman inspired by Prince to start her own revolution. Through her journey, we see from within exactly how his royal badness transformed the entire Minneapolis scene. End quote. My anti-ableism read for this month is hopefully going to be 1,000 Colored Castles by Gareth Brooks. Quote, mild-mannered Miriam is diagnosed with muscular degeneration in her right eye, but that doesn't explain the strange things she's been seeing. Children in bright red helmets dancing on the doctor's ceiling, exotic vines growing from her television set, and thousands of colored castles forming patterns on her kitchen wall. Her husband Fred is certain that Miriam's visions are a bunch of nonsense, and her family dismisses her odd observations as a result of old age and an addled mind. So when Miriam begins to notice something off about the house next door, she has only her own instincts to trust. Can she tell the difference between a trick of the eye and a real crime? The surreal lives side by side with the everyday in this graphic novel about life with Charles Bonnet syndrome, a condition in which a person with partial or severe blindness has complex, often bizarre hallucinations. Garth Brooks' rich artistic crayon drawing pull the readers into Miriam's vibrant and unnerving world, showing the frustration and fear that arise as a result of this unique condition and the moments of unexpected beauty. End quote. And finally, I'm only aiming to pick up one not manga translated comic this month, namely The Ladies in Waiting by Santiago García, Javier Olivares, and Erica Mena. Quote, in 1656, Diego Velázquez, leading figure in the Spanish Golden Age of painting, created one of the most enigmatic works in the history of art, La Meninas, The Ladies in Waiting. This graphic novel, written and drawn by two of Spain's most sophisticated comic creators, examines its legacy as one of the first paintings to explore the relationship among the viewer, reality, and unreality. It guest stars Kouno, Salvador Dali, Zurbarán, and many others. Olivares' art moves from clear lines to expressionistic, from pen nib to brush stroke, from one color palette to another, as The Ladies in Waiting uses fiction to explore the ties among artists and patrons, and the past and the present, institutions and audiences, creators and creativity. End quote. And that's it. Obviously, I also cut the detail portion a bit short too, just trying to not overly burden myself here. What kinds of books will you be reading in March, do you think? Bye y'all, keep reading and organized to end capitalist oppression. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, non-Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.